As the sun began to set, casting a warm orange glow over the lush green grass of the park, Emily felt her pulse quicken with anticipation. She had been looking forward to this moment all day, and finally, she was about to reunite with her secret lover, Jack. Emily arrived at the designated spot, a secluded bench beneath a weeping willow tree, just as the clock struck 6. Jack was already there, his eyes scanning the surroundings with a hint of nervousness. As Emily approached, their gazes met, and they exchanged a tender smile. Without a word, Jack stood up, his broad shoulders flexing as he stretched his arms above his head. Emily's gaze lingered on his physique, her fingers itching to touch the smooth skin beneath her fingertips. She felt a flutter in her chest as he walked towards her, his eyes never leaving hers. As they sat down together, the silence between them was palpable, heavy with unspoken desires. Jack reached out and gently brushed a stray strand of hair behind Emily's ear, sending shivers down her spine. Their fingers touched, and the sparks flew. The air was thick with tension as they gazed into each other's eyes, their breathing synchronized. Jack's hand crept up Emily's arm, his fingertips tracing the curve of her elbow. She felt a rush of excitement as he leaned in closer, his lips brushing against her earlobe. "Tonight," he whispered, "we'll forget about everything else and just be." As Jack's warm breath caressed her skin, Emily's heart skipped a beat. She nodded slightly, her eyes never leaving his, and felt the tension between them build to a crescendo. The world around them melted away, leaving only the two of them, lost in their own little bubble of desire. Without another word, Jack leaned in further, his lips meeting Emily's in a soft, gentle kiss. It was as if time had stopped, and all that existed was this moment, this feeling, this connection between them. As they kissed, the sounds of the park faded into the background, the chirping birds, the rustling leaves, the distant hum of traffic. All that mattered was the beating of their hearts, the thrumming of their pulses, and the electric charge that ran through their bodies. Emily felt herself melting into Jack's embrace, her senses overwhelmed by the intensity of his touch. She had never felt this way before, as if she were home, as if she had finally found a piece of herself that she didn't know was missing. As they broke apart for air, Emily gazed up at Jack with eyes that shone like stars in the night sky. "Tonight," she whispered back, her voice barely audible over the pounding of her heart, "we'll forget about everything else and just be." And with that, they lost themselves in each other's arms, their love a flame that burned bright and true, illuminating the dark recesses of their souls. The park around them faded into nothingness, leaving only the two of them suspended in a world of their own making. As the night wore on, they laughed and whispered secrets to each other, their bodies entwined like vines on an ancient trellis. They were lost in the thrill of discovery, the rush of adrenaline that came with exploring new territories, both physical and emotional. And when the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, casting a pale glow over the park, Emily knew that she would never be able to go back to her old life. Jack had awakened something within her, something primal and powerful, and she was forever changed. As they parted ways, promising to meet again soon, Emily felt a sense of freedom wash over her, as if she had finally broken free from the shackles of convention and societal expectations. She knew that she would never be able to go back to being the same person she was before Jack came into her life. And so, with a heart full of joy and a soul on fire, Emily disappeared into the dawn, leaving behind only the whispers in the park. Whispers of a love that had awakened something deep within her, something that would forever change the course of her life. Emily's friends and family began to notice a change in her, a newfound confidence and sparkle in her eye that seemed almost fee. They couldn't quite put their finger on it, but there was something different about Emily now, something that made them wonder if she had finally found what she had been searching for all along. As for Jack, his friends at the gym began to whisper among themselves about his newfound obsession with a mysterious woman. They would catch glimpses of her in the distance, her long blonde hair and bright blue eyes standing out like beacons against the dull gray backdrop of their daily routines. But despite the rumors and speculation, Emily and Jack remained tight-lipped about their affair. They knew that if their secret got out, it could ruin everything. not just for themselves, but for those around them as well. So they continued to sneak around, stealing moments whenever they could. They would meet in hidden corners of the city, exchanging whispered promises and stolen kisses like thieves in the night. And yet, despite the danger and uncertainty that surrounded their love, Emily felt a sense of freedom she had never known before. She was no longer bound by the constraints of societal expectations or the pressures of her daily routine. She was free to be whoever she wanted to be, whenever she wanted to be it. As the weeks turned into months, Emily began to realize that she was changing in ways she couldn't quite explain. Her thoughts were clearer, her emotions more intense, and her sense of self more defined than ever before. It was as if Jack had awakened something deep within her, a spark that had been waiting to be fanned into flame. And so with each passing day, Emily felt herself becoming more and more entrenched in this new life. A life that was full of risk and uncertainty, but also full of possibility and promise. She knew that she would never go back to being the same person she was before Jack came into her life, and for that she was eternally grateful. But as the days turned into weeks, Emily began to sense that their love was not without its consequences. There were whispers in the wind, rumors of a rival suitor who had been watching them from the shadows. And then, one fateful night, everything changed forever. As they sat on the bench, Jack's eyes locked onto Emily's with an intensity that made her heart skip a beat. She felt like she was drowning in their depths, and yet she couldn't look away. "Who is he?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "The one who's been watching us." Jack's expression turned serious, his jaw clenched in a tight line. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I've seen him around town, lurking in the shadows. He's tall, dark-haired, and has piercing green eyes that seem to bore into your soul." Emily felt a shiver run down her spine as she imagined this mysterious figure. She had always been drawn to the unknown, the unexplained, and now it seemed like Jack was about to reveal a secret that would change everything. "What does he want?" Emily asked, her curiosity getting the better of her. Jack's eyes narrowed, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I don't know, but I think he's been watching us for a while, maybe even since we first met." Emily felt like she had been punched in the gut. She couldn't believe that someone had been monitoring their every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "What are you going to do?" Emily asked, her voice trembling with fear. Jack's expression turned resolute, his eyes burning with determination. "I'll take care of it," he promised. "You don't have to worry about a thing." Emily felt a surge of relief wash over her as Jack took her hand in his. She knew that she could always count on him to protect her, no matter what lay ahead. As they walked away from the bench, Emily couldn't help but wonder what secrets lay hidden beneath the surface of their forbidden love. But one thing was certain. She would never be able to go back to being the same person she was before Jack came into her life. As they walked hand in hand through the quiet streets, Emily's mind raced with questions and concerns about this mysterious figure. Who was he? What did he want from them? And why had he been watching them for so long? Jack seemed to sense her unease and squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Don't worry, Emily," he said. "I'll take care of it. I won't let anyone hurt you." Emily nodded, trying to push aside the growing sense of fear that was creeping up on her. She knew that Jack would do everything in his power to protect her, but she couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched.